Hello, welcome. It's great to be here. It's another Tuesday live lesson from Digital DJ Tips, the world's leading online DJ school. I'm Phil Morse here in the studio. It's actually a very special day today because we've set up all our gear in the studio for filming our latest DJ course, which I will be telling you about over the coming days and weeks, which is why I've got all the CDJs set up here. And it's going to be fun. But guess what? No one gave us permission to be a DJ school. We just did it. And that's what I'm talking about to you today. As a DJ school, we have taught thousands of students over the last 15 years. But one thing that comes up again and again with students is this need to almost wait for someone to give them permission to be a DJ. And so today I want to talk about why it's always the wrong way. And even the people who you think have had a gilded path to where they are in the DJ world didn't wait for permission. They had to kick doors down. So this is what I want to talk about today. Why, if you want to be a DJ, it's a bad idea to wait for someone to give you permission to do it. And look, I get it. As a teacher, I get it. We are brought up to toe the line. We're brought up, we go to school, there are rules. We leave school, we go to work, there are rules. There are rules and there are people giving us permission to do stuff throughout our lives. When you want to break free of that and do something for yourself, it can be quite scary because there's no one telling you you can't do it, but there's also no one telling you you can do it. And if you look at something that you really want to do and it's not populated by people like you who are not potentially young, beautiful, talented, and all the things that you might think you need to be just to get a foot in the door as a DJ, you might think, well, that's not me. And so either I can't do it or I need to wait for someone to say it's okay for me to do it. And unfortunately, people, newsflash, that person is never going to come because there ain't no person who's ever going to say that to you. Even DJs who make it are full of imposter syndrome. They're full of insecurity. They're full of wondering whether they're good enough. They're waiting for someone to say, you're not good enough. And sometimes they're scared that if someone did do that, then they would just crumple. How do I know that? Because that was me. When I started DJing as a shy, not particularly successfully, in anything person in my early 20s, but consumed by the passion for the music I loved and the thing I did, I through my own route, which I've talked about lots and which I won't talk about here, kind of got to a point where I was doing all right. I was DJing at a nightclub that was booking good DJs. We were making good money. I ended up being able to buy a house and all this stuff, all through DJing. Now, it didn't happen instantly. In fact, quite the opposite. It took a long, long time. But the point is I got there. But I remember thinking night after night, if someone comes up to this DJ booth and says, you don't know what you're doing. Why are you're not a DJ? I might just take the record off and walk out and never come back. Now, no one ever did. But at the same time, no one ever came up and said, wow, you just look like you were born into this. This is amazing and all that stuff. So you aren't going to get anyone giving you permission to do this. And you might feel like if anyone tells you you can't, and that's going to close it off forever for you. So I want to help you get over that if you feel like that's you today. Right, before we go any further though, I just want to say one thing. I want you to share in the comments if you're watching this live, but also if you're watching the replay because we get to all the comments. Something that you've done for yourself in your DJing that you maybe were scared of doing or weren't sure about doing, but that really paid off. Could be a gig, could be a transition, could be a mix, could be a little video you shared, could be a live stream, could be something you put online, whatever. Something you did in your DJing that no one gave you permission to do, you did off your own back, and something great came of it. Please share. And at the end, we'll just pluck a few of those out of the comments and talk about them. So look, for some people, DJing is nothing more than a hobby. In fact, I'll be honest with you, for most people in our community, they just want to DJ. They've always wanted to DJ and that's enough. But even they need permission sometimes. Even they need someone like us to say, look, it's all right to go and buy some DJ gear. But I don't want to be a DJ. I don't want to do this. Am I mad wanting to buy a controller? No, you're not mad. That's what you need to be a DJ. Just because it's something you want to do, it doesn't mean you need to hustle and make money from it. It's not necessary to go beyond it being a hobby. And like I say, most people are happy with that. And that's fine. So don't feel this need to justify the fact that you want to DJ for a hobby, for fun, by getting gigs or by hustling or by beating yourself up because those things aren't happening. It's fine to want to do this for fun, for yourself, right? So if that's you, great. But not everyone wants it to just be a hobby, right? So let's talk about if you do want to go a bit further and why no one's going to give you permission. So here is a little picture, and it's okay if you're nodding your head saying, yeah, that's me, because we've all been there. You're waiting for a promoter to give you a gig. You're refreshing your email inbox 4 or 5 times a day, waiting for someone to accept you for a residency because you've been sending emails out left, right and centre to everyone you can think of. So many people that someone surely must give you one. You're looking for shortcuts. How do other people do it? There must be a way. There must be some secret I'm missing. The current hot favourite out there in influencer DJ land is social media follows. You need social media follows. You need a social media viral presence, or you ain't gonna get anywhere. Let me let you into a secret. Most of DJing is about social media nowadays. Really? So if this is you, if what I've just described sounds like you, I just want to pose a simple question to you. What if you didn't follow their rules? What if you didn't do any of that? The traditional way to become a DJ, so they say, and there's only one way. Of course, there's only one way. You've got to know the right people. You've got to know the right venues and get gigs in them. You've got to game the algorithms. You've got to send out loads of mixes and be really present everywhere at all times. And then the worst bit, you've got to wait your turn until those gigs come your way, until the people playing all those gigs you want somehow let you in and you're there as well, right? It's just going to happen if you keep doing all those things above. Oh, and it helps if you're young, beautiful and insanely talented from birth, right? So the only way to get anywhere, if you are serious about going past making this a hobby, is to say no to all of that and to build your own thing. It really, really is. I could give you loads of examples, but as ever, the best example is probably myself. If I couldn't get gigs in clubs, which I couldn't for a long time in Manchester, where I'm from, in the early 90s, if I couldn't get gigs in clubs, I thought, and with the help of a friend, let's start our own club. Now, guess what? Our own club wasn't, whisper it, very good. And it didn't do very well for quite a long time. But we were just talking about this today in the studio because actually, well, I'll let you into it. We have released this anyway. The course we're currently making, and that's why we've got the CDJ set up, is with Ferry Corsten, one of the biggest trance DJs of all time. We are doing the definitive How to DJ Trance Masterclass, right? So I was promoting a nightclub that was bumbling along the bottom. We'd been doing it for years and we were still only getting a couple of hundred people on a good night and so on. Very inconsistent, but we stuck with it. All of a sudden, I heard a record, and the reason it's so great to be making a course with Ferry Corsten is that it was his record. It was Out of the Blue by System F for Ferry, right? I heard it on the radio one dreary Saturday night as I was driving around with my car full of flyers and posters, putting them up all over town. And I just thought, oh my God, this is what I've been waiting for. This is the music I've been waiting for. What is this? And it was trance. It was one of the early trance songs. And so our club pivoted into being a main room trance venue, and we had something else in our second room. And within a few weeks, we went from literally 200 people on the dance floor to 1,000 people queuing outside every single week. But that was all our own doing. All the decisions that led up to that point and all the experience we needed to get there were because we did it for ourselves. We didn't ask for permission. So look, I'm an example of why you cannot wait for people to give you permission, and there is another way. You have to build your own thing. So let's talk about building your own thing. Let's talk about other things you get told that aren't true. A while ago, people were saying, unless you are signed to a record label and you've got a song on the radio, you are never going to get any success as a DJ. Well, look at all the DJs who've released music on SoundCloud and done very, very well indeed just by sharing their own music, or on Bandcamp. So then there's people saying, well, if you don't produce music, you're never going to become a DJ. Really? I was talking earlier about all those DJs in the clubs in your locality who are playing the gigs that you want to play. Have they all released music? Of course they haven't. Yes, it can help you to become a superstar. But look, let's be honest about this. I'm sure being a superstar isn't the first rung on the ladder that you're thinking of, right? You don't have to do all these things just to get someone to give you permission to get the gigs. What about, I can't get club gigs. I cannot play in the clubs where I want to play. Well, how about all the other kinds of gigs that you can get? There's so many people in our community doing non-traditional gigs. They're playing gigs in places where they don't normally have DJs, or in places where they do have DJs, on nights where they don't normally have DJs, or at times of the day when they don't have DJs. Daytime raves, fitness raves, raves for kids, new music in the park on a Sunday, whatever. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm giving you examples of what people do. And so you don't need their approval to do any of these things. You need to have an idea and you need to follow it through for yourself and be prepared to hang around for the long run while you learn. And this is part of the beauty of this. What you need to DJ is some working gear, some music you love, and to find some people who want to hear it. Not a viral number of people on social media. Let me tell you one thing. Just because someone's got 1 million followers on social media, it doesn't mean that 1 million people come to their gigs. That number doesn't mean anything because there are followers and there are followers. It's much better to find 10 people who love what you do than to have 1,000 fake followers. Those 10 people will know 10 more people. And so over time, the tentacles of what you do slowly spread. Organically, yes. Is it fast? Is it instant? No. Do all the tips online from YouTubers telling you how to get social media content that goes viral help? No. But are you genuinely building fans person by person for what you do? Yes. And here's the beautiful bit about this. You're experimenting, you're taking risks, but you're staying true to yourself. This isn't about size. It's about control. You're controlling the route you take. Behind every instant success is someone who's been doing this for 10 years. Trust me. Let's talk about an obvious instant success in our community, James Hype. James is a massive phenomenon now. James has got gym companies sponsoring him and he's playing Tomorrowland and he's everywhere, he's everything. James is the first person who will tell you, and this is what he explains in the courses we've made with him, about the decade he spent playing every and any gig that was thrown at him in the most unglamorous venues in the world across the north of England, playing commercial music, playing stuff that he didn't want to do. And he will tell you about some of the decisions he made along the way that were all down to him. No one was giving him permission and no one was saying, well done, fella, for what you just did. Things like deciding to move to London rather than staying in the north of England. Things like deciding that making music was an important thing and learning how to use a studio and so on and so on. This is James's route, but the point is he was not an overnight success. So this is not about massive numbers, it's about control. Find those 10 people that are into what you do and then they'll help you find 10 more and so on and so on. And we're talking like a little listening party in the pub at the end of your road, launching a podcast about a type of music that's underrepresented that you're really into. Whatever it might be, the key is keep control, do it organically, and this is the really important thing, stay consistent, because only consistency convinces other people that what you're offering is something that they can believe in as well. Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you, right? So you've got to portray confidence and vision, and this is where I'm going. And the only way you can do that is by doing something you believe in. What did I say a minute ago? All you need to DJ is some gear and some music you really believe in, and then start finding the people who are coming along with you on your ride. So this is going to give you something that's genuinely yours. No one gave you permission, but over time it will build into something that you can be really, really proud of. So stop waiting for people to give you permission. Stop thinking there's only one route to getting to where you want to get to. And really, to an extent, stop worrying about where you want to get to and just see where it takes you. Doing it will make you right. Doing it will always make you right. You know, we see again here at the school, we see lots of people in forums and online and on Reddit and answering our YouTube videos and so on, who are spending all their energies and their efforts in the wrong areas. They're worrying about this brand or that brand or this feature or that feature or this piece of software or that piece of software. They're arguing among each other whether it's worth worrying about this or that, or whether you're a fool for going down that route or that route. What they're not doing is any of the stuff we just talked about. is building something for themselves and forgetting about the little details around the edges that people who don't do this talk about, and actually concentrating on the important stuff, which is your direction, where you're going, doing what you believe in, and then doing it again and again and again. In my case, 1991, I decided I really wanted to do this for a living. And by 1992, I was doing it full time. It took me till 1997 to start making a living from it. So 5 years, half a decade of just doing it, belief, slowly building, slowly building this expertise, if you like, this experience, this talent, which isn't talent at all. It's just experience. It's just learning the ropes of the game. And then when times shifted, when things moved in our favor, I'd done the apprenticeship quietly and was ready to take advantage of it. This is all stuff that people who end up succeeding have done, and they didn't wait for anyone to tell them that they could do it. They just got on with it. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. Don't wait for permission to be a DJ. And I'd love to now spend a few minutes. Hopefully we've got some great comments. We normally do have some great comments coming in on the chat. And I want to know, remember what I asked you at the beginning. Tell me something you did for yourself in your DJing, some decision you made for yourself, or something you decided, this is how I'm going to go about it. This is my mad idea that really worked for you. Where no one gave you permission, you just went ahead and did it. I want to help inspire other people who are listening to this, either watching it, listening to it, or not live, watching the recordings with some of the things you've got to say. So firstly, because we are live as ever, I want to say hello to a few of our regulars. Hello to Mixmaster G and Kesha and Easy DJ, to Cal Brown and to Mac, and to DJ Belter. Hello over there in the UK. Hello to David and to Keith. So Mac, I just started making remixes, said Mac. Just off my own back, started making remixes. Perfect, yes. Well, don't I need to have a studio to do that? No. Don't I need to know anything about music to do that? Does it sound good to you? Do you already know how to mix two records together on your record decks? So why the hell do you need any help doing so in Ableton? What you need to do is grab a copy of Ableton and start playing. Love it. Thank you, Mac. So Mac then jokingly says, yeah, get famous first and then DJ afterwards. Yeah, we're not talking about fame here. I'm sure you've realised that as well. Hello to Stephen on YouTube, says I don't normally get to watch these live as well. So Keith says, I started putting my mixes on Mixcloud and that helped me to mix live. In other words, making mixes that weren't live helped Keith to be able to do it live. And now Keith DJs in a restaurant off the back of the experience of making and sharing mixes online. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And what I like about that is it's not about the exposure that putting your mixes online gave you. It's about the skills it gave you and giving you the confidence to then go and do it live. I love that. Finishing stuff at home so that you then feel more confident to do it live as well. That's really, really good. So this is from... Easy DJ, who says, my first stream on YouTube was a mouse and keyboard controlled mix. There was absolutely no controller involved. That's absolutely brilliant. I think that's great. Kesha, I've been doing this for 5 years now. I never have to wait for permission. And quite frankly, life is too short to wait for permission anyway. So just do it. I love that. And of course, life is too short to wait for anyone to tell you you're allowed to do something. Erwin says, what helped me was not over preparing. Make mistakes every now and then. People won't notice. I totally agree with you. We run on the 80% rule, which is like, if you're 80% there, go and do it, right? No one will notice the extra 20%. If you wait for perfection, you'll never get anything done. My main thing is playing gimmicky tracks like remixes of video games, movies, cartoons, etc., says Ralph. While I haven't made it big, I have had gigs in big cities and I've made friends and fans from it. Ralph, this is brilliant. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You are genuinely inspired by what I just read out. And because of that, you're starting to find other people who love what you're doing. You are putting yourself in a smaller group of people. And because of that, you can be near the top of the pile. Now, there might not be many people who are doing what you do, but those who do will find you, you will find them, and you become part of a small scene, and suddenly you're at the centre of a scene that matters to you rather than trying to break into one that, if you're honest, doesn't. I think that's really, really good. Thank you for that. So JB Patrol says, I recently stood in to play an 80s party, playing nothing but bangers for a friend. Said I would have to swallow my pride to play some of the tracks, but it ended up being really good and I had a great time. So this is another thing. I read Moby's biography, or autobiography. Moby's got a couple now, but his first autobiography. He was talking about, I think it was a funk gig. I think someone had said, can you come and play funk or something like that? It was a genre he knew nothing about. So he went to a secondhand record shop. This is back in the vinyl days in New York when everyone was playing records. And he just looked at anything with funk written on it or that he knew that was by a funk artist with his limited knowledge, and he bought them all. And he played the gig. And he said the gig was quite good and he kind of got away with it. But it led to all kinds of things because he had the nerve to do it, and they realised that he'd had the nerve to do it, even though he was clearly not, you know, first and foremost a funk DJ. And then it led to all kinds of things. But more importantly, it opened his mind to stuff that wouldn't have happened had he not played that gig. One of the things we tell people here at Digital DJ Tips is, in your early DJing days, play anything. Don't think, oh, I'm a house DJ, therefore I can only play deep house and I will reject any other offers of gigs. Firstly, you ain't going to get many offers of gigs, so take what's offered. But secondly, you don't know if you're a deep house DJ. You haven't DJed yet, so how the hell would you know? Take every kind of gig you can get that you're even 1% interested in and give it a go. No one's got any views about you as a DJ yet because you haven't DJed, right? So there's no reputation to ruin. So just do it. There will never be, look at it another way. Once you're successful in any way, shape or form, even on the first rung of the ladder, people will know you for something, right? A mobile DJ, cut up, mashup DJ, open format DJ, single genre DJ, whatever, right? People will know you for something. So at that point, there's something to lose by breaking and doing something else, right? So far better to get that out of the way early. There will never be another time in your DJ career when you can play what the hell you want. So take any gig you can get. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. DJ Belter says, my DJing is a hobby. I was scared about sharing my own mixes, so I shared them on Mixcloud because Phil said so. Oh, I'm glad. I'm getting #1s in their charts and it's a huge buzz. I've no idea where this is going. But I'm doing it anyway. So that comes back to what I was saying earlier. Sometimes don't worry about where it's going. You've got no way of possibly knowing. I didn't know in that autumn of 1997 that the genre whose music had really inspired me, in other words, early trance music, I didn't know that was going to become the biggest scene in the world for several years, and that I was going to be a DJ that was well placed to book all the big names in that world and to basically buy a house on the proceeds of what we made from people queuing around the block to get into our club. I didn't know any of that. But what I did know is that I believed in what I was doing and I loved what I was doing. So thank you very much for that. And I'm glad you're enjoying your #1s in the Mixcloud chart, DJ Belter. And also Alex Joe says, just get out there. I even just set up at a local park and invite anyone that wants to go. Make yourself a flyer and just jam. Share. That's really, really good. Mac also agrees. DJ outdoors if you can. Go portable. Use batteries. Yeah, I get it. You know, no one's going to gatekeep you for DJing outdoors. So I'm 60, says Rob. There wasn't any social media for me. It just takes hard work. I love that. Thank you, Rob. So many great comments coming in here. And if you want to read these comments, they are on the Facebook and YouTube versions of this video. Facebook will hang around for a bit. YouTube will hang around forever. Probably best to check it on our YouTube channel if you want to see some of these comments. They would have been in the live chat when you watch it back. This is from Nürburgring Biker, who says, I was closing a small techno rave in a cool venue the other day. I was very happy I got to do that gig and it went well. But when I got home, I felt so off. Lonely almost. Does it sound familiar? Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. There's two things here. One, it's just such a shock going from, you know, a warm, packed venue where it's loud and you're at the center of it all, and now you're back at home. I mean, that's a shock. But also, I think there's a little bit of, if you've ever been in something like a theatre performance or something where you come together, like any kind of project, and that project ends. And I think a DJ set's a bit like that. You build up to it, you know it's coming, your friends are going to come, you know, so this is the same kind of thing. And then you actually get the performance on the night or whatever. And then that's over. You feel a kind of sense of loss that it's happened. But look, this is the way out of that. get yourself another gig really quickly, and get back on the horse. Right, that's the way out of that. Anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed the gig there. That's brilliant. Right, so my own experience was quite similar. I waited for a long time to actually realize I was better than 80% of the people who were actually doing it. Then I just started having fun whenever I had a gig, and now I'm a full-time DJ, says Planet Tracks. It's that fun, isn't it? It's that transfer of energy from you on your gear to the dance floor. It's that fun. Without that fun, why should people back you? Why should they follow you? Why should they say to each other, this is a good DJ? Because if you're not having fun, then no one else is going to. I think that's great. So once you begin comparing yourself to others, you're setting yourself up for failure and for burnout. When you wholeheartedly focus on yourself, your own growth and efforts, it will all pay off. I absolutely love that. Thank you very much for all those comments. I'm going to stop there, even though there's loads more that have come in. I hope you've enjoyed this. Look, don't ask for permission. Even if you're just in this for fun, for hobby, you don't need permission to have this as a hobby. It's a great hobby to have. Get the gear, learn the techniques, mix for yourself, have fun. It's okay. DJing is a great hobby. But if you want to take it further, then get on with it. Do it. Do it in all its messy, dirty, imperfect glory. If you have a mad idea, just get on with it. See what happens. Because getting on with it for yourself is ultimately, if you really do want the big clubs, the big promoters, the labels and all that to notice you, you need to make yourself unmissable. And until that point, it's all down to you. No one is going to give you permission. So don't wait for it. I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you are one of our students, one of our course owners, then tomorrow on your Inside Track webinar with me, we're going to be diving a bit deeper into this. We're going to be looking at a whole pile of excuses that DJs use to sabotage their own hobbies, their own DJing careers, their own DJing efforts. That's going to be a fun one. And of course, it's a webinar inside our closed platform, so we'll get to chat, as we always do, about all those excuses. So I'm really looking forward to that one. So see you tomorrow for that if you're a course owner. And if you want to know about our courses, head to digitaldjtips.com. They're all there, including very soon the new course that we are making with Ferry Corsten, Trance DJ Extraordinaire, and I can't wait for that. And that's exactly why this gear is all here. We are filming with Ferry right now and can't wait to bring that course to you. Better get back to it, I suppose. Get good, get out there, make the moments, people. See you next time. Bye for now.